Hey, good morning, everybody. You can't see me right now, but this is Emma from the Better Business Bureau. I'd like to welcome you all to our webinar today about pay-per-call advertising. Our presenter is Ryan McVeigh, Chief Executive Director of Call Engine Inc. We're thrilled to have him with us today to share his knowledge and expertise on all things pay-per-call advertising. I will turn things over to Ryan in just a moment, but before I do that, there are a few housekeeping tips that I will share if any of you are joining us on the webinar for the first time. First, please don't feel like you have to furiously take notes during the presentation. I will make a recording available to you in the days to come. If that's something you're interested in, please just send me a message or type that into the questions pane on the GoToWebinar menu. I'll keep track of those during the presentation and make sure that I follow up with you accordingly. Second, if you encounter any issues during the presentation, the call-in telephone number and access code is available in the chat box on the GoToWebinar menu. Again, I'm going to be moderating the questions pane in the GoToWebinar menu. So if you have any issues, please feel free to reach out to me using that questions pane, and I will do my best to help you. Finally, you'll notice that you are muted right now. This is to keep our audio quality clear and concise while Ryan presents. If you have any questions or comments, again, please use that questions pane. I will be keeping track of these during the presentation. And then closer to the end, I will moderate questions for Ryan for about 10 minutes before we finish. So if you have questions about any of the content that you're receiving today, put those in the questions pane and we'll get them to Ryan before we finish today. I'm going to turn things over to Ryan now as he begins today's presentation. Ryan, are you ready?
I am. Yeah, thanks, Emma.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for joining today. First of all, can everyone see my screen? Emma, is everyone good?
Yep, you guys are getting your presentation up and running, so I can see that on my side here.
Okay, perfect. So as Emma said, my name is Ryan McVeigh, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Call Engine Inc. We're a certified Google partner that specializes in delivering large amounts of new customers to service-based businesses. And we do this through pay-per-call advertising. If you've never heard this term before, don't worry about it. By the end of this webinar, you'll have a firm grasp of what pay-per-call advertising is and how to use it successfully to boost sales for your business. So just to get started, I'd like to share with you a quick 1-minute video featuring a character by the name of Marty, who you may be able to relate to.
Meet Marty. Marty is the vice president of marketing for his company and has been tasked with increasing new business by 20% this month. Yikes! In the past, Marty has tried everything from television and radio spots to purchasing display banner ad space online. But none of these channels produce cost-effective, measurable results. Not to worry, Marty. Call Engine to the rescue. Call Engine reaches your potential customers at a point when they are most likely to make a purchase. That's right, when your prospects are searching the internet for your services. You'll receive real-time incoming phone leads delivered straight to your call center or sales team. Better yet, you'll only pay for qualified phone calls that you'd have a shot at closing. How's that for measurable? It's a slam dunk. Stop spending money on advertising that doesn't deliver new customers. Pay-per-call advertising with Call Engine is the solution for measurable, cost-effective customer acquisition. Visit us at callengine.com and start receiving calls today.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little video. So whether you're in a sales management position like Marty or you own your own service-based business, it's safe to say that you're all looking to gain new customers. It's also likely that you've tried several different ways to generate new business, whether that be radio ads, newspaper ads, flyers, trade shows, or even television. What I'm here to tell you today is that none of those channels can provide a more measurable, cost-effective, or risk-free means of acquiring new customers than pay-per-call advertising can. So what is pay-per-call advertising? The model itself is fairly self-explanatory. Essentially, your salespeople are receiving incoming phone calls from potential customers who are actively searching for the service that your company provides. And as the name suggests, you're paying a predetermined amount for each call that you receive. The logistics of how pay-per-call works requires a little bit further explanation. So let's take a look at a real-life example. In this case, Doug is in urgent need of a plumber. So like most people, he picks up his iPhone or other smartphone device. He goes to Google and he types in plumber service near me. At this point, Doug sees the results of his search, which includes highly targeted advertisements. He happens to live in Toronto, Ontario, so the ad that catches his eye is best plumbing service in Toronto. Call now for a free quote. Doug then clicks on that ad, which immediately prompts him to make a phone call. Now, this is where a crucial part of the pay-per-call experience takes place. When Doug makes that phone call, he's not immediately connected to your agent. Instead, the caller is taken through a quality filtering process where they have to answer certain questions by using their phone to select certain key presses. You may have heard this. This stage is commonly referred to as IVR filtering, which stands for interactive voice response. So in this example, Doug is asked to press 1 if he would like to be connected with a plumber, press 2 if he's looking to apply for plumbing jobs, or press 3 for all other inquiries. To ensure that you receive only high-quality calls, we would only send you the calls from callers who indicate they want to be connected to a plumber. All the other key presses are stopped from getting through by us politely notifying the caller that the phone number they've dialed is for new services only. And as a second layer of quality screening, your sales agents would then have 60 seconds on the phone with that caller to decipher whether or not they're a viable customer. If for some reason they don't seem like a worthy customer, the sales agent would end the call prior to 60 seconds. So in this example, you would only be paying for those calls that lasted over 60 seconds. Now, from a reporting perspective, you would be provided with a login where you can review real-time reports on each call received, including the caller ID, the location of the caller, the time date stamp of the call, and the duration of the call. So as you can see, the pay-per-call model can produce very high-intent sales leads at very little risk to the buyer. I say can produce because, certain factors do come into play in terms of when you're working with this type of marketing. So let's take a look at those key factors that equate to success. Number one is the advertising message itself. Every successful pay-per-call campaign starts with clean, targeted advertising that properly communicates the services being offered. If the message is inaccurate or reaching the wrong audience, this will naturally result in poor quality phone calls being generated. So for example, if you have an auto insurance brokerage and you run an ad that says, call to get auto insurance for $1 per month, how much business do you think you're going to get from that ad? Probably none. Another important factor is making sure that you're not bogging down your salespeople with calls from people who have no intention of purchasing your services or don't meet certain minimum requirements needed in order to do business with you. So for example, if you know that you can't do business with somebody who has poor credit, then you obviously don't want poor credit callers getting through to your sales reps. And likewise, if you run a maid service, you'll want to make sure that the IVR is filtering out calls from people looking for a job as a maid. And the third thing to consider, the third element of success, I should say, is something that your company will really need to control internally and take very seriously, and that is the overall caller experience. If the previous 2 points have been executed properly, your sales agents should be receiving calls from consumers who are actively shopping for your services and meet your minimum criteria. You then have to ensure that your agents are picking up the phone in a timely fashion and that they're trained properly to sell your services. If the callers are getting routed to voicemail or waiting on hold for 5 minutes or being met by agents who aren't knowledgeable about your services, then these high intent calls will go to waste and the campaign just simply won't work for you. So if all of these three factors are functioning properly, your campaign and your company will be well positioned to get the most out of pay-per-call advertising. So I've explained what pay-per-call advertising is and how it can be leveraged effectively to drive new customer acquisition. But perhaps what some of you might be asking yourselves is, why should I focus on targeting consumers on their mobile device at all? So let's take a look at some key market trends. 45% of total call volume comes from mobile search. That's more than any other digital or traditional marketing channel. 50% of those who have conducted research on their smartphone have purchased a brand that they wouldn't normally purchase because of relevant information available in the moment. So it's really about catching the consumer in that moment when they're most likely to make a purchase. Also, more than 60% of smartphone users have used the click-to-call feature when searching for information from their phone. The reality is that your customers are using smartphones to find you online. Inbound phone calls are naturally higher quality leads than typical web form leads. Callers are highly motivated buyers. They're actively searching for a service or product at that moment in time, and you're only paying for qualified leads that have met specified criteria. Your agents also get a predetermined amount of time to speak with that caller in order to confirm that they're a viable lead before the call becomes billable. And that's really what makes pay-per-call advertising among the most risk-free, measurable customer acquisition models available today. So at this point, hopefully you have a clear understanding of how pay-per-call advertising works and why your company should embrace it. Now I'd like to give you some background information on our company, Call Engine Inc., and explain why we're your best choice for executing your pay-per-call strategy and ultimately delivering new customers for your business. So let's start by watching this quick 30-second commercial.
If you're looking to acquire new customers to your service-based business, look no further than Call Engine, the most experienced team in pay-per-call advertising. Leveraging its online brand and internal distribution, Call Engine is a performance-based advertising agency that delivers incoming phone calls to your field team from consumers who are ready to buy now. Stop spending money on advertising that doesn't deliver new customers. Pay-per-call advertising with Call Engine is the solution for measurable, cost-effective customer acquisition. Visit callengine.com today.
Okay, so as the commercial highlighted, Call Engine is the most experienced team in pay-per-call advertising. Our founders, including myself, have been active participants in developing the pay-per-call industry since its birth and have actually built pay-per-call divisions for other marketing agencies prior to founding Call Engine. And this level of experience, along with the fact that we control all advertising internally, is what really separates us from the pack. Call Engine leverages our internal team of seasoned media buyers and more than a dozen owned and operated online properties. And this allows you to have clear optics into where and how your leads are being generated. It also gives you, the peace of mind knowing that your company is being promoted in a compliant manner and being optimized by the actual team that's generating the traffic. We are a certified Google partner, headquartered in Markham, Ontario, Canada, but doing high volume business across North America and the UK. In fact, last year, we were recognized by Startup Canada for excellence in global entrepreneurship. And scalability is another thing that you'll get with Call Engine. On a monthly basis, we're delivering more than 150,000 phone calls to our various clients across broad range of verticals, including insurance, credit repair, telecom, plumbing, pest control, and a whole bunch of other home services. An ideal client for us is a service-based business that has a centralized call center or a team of sales agents who can handle incoming phone calls effectively. From a geographical coverage standpoint, we're looking for businesses who have statewide or province-wide coverage. There's certain nuances to working with zip code targeting or postal code targeting. So unless we already have buyers purchasing calls nationwide in a particular category, we tend to shy away from the really hyper-local campaigns, but we do on occasion have campaigns running that focus on, for example, the province of Ontario or state of Hawaii. Obviously, the broader the geographical coverage, the more volume that's available. Our model, as I mentioned, is 100% performance-based, so a typical deal structure would be X number of dollars per call that lasts a minimum of X duration. Setup is quick and free. Once we have the paperwork in place, we would just need the phone number that you would want calls routed to, and we can have the campaign set up the same day. It typically takes approximately 1 week before you start to see calls coming in, sometime sooner if we're already actively generating calls for that particular service. We don't require any minimum spend. We have the ability to impose daily, weekly, or even monthly volume caps as required. So it's really as long as we see demand for your type of service from an online search perspective and your company's in a position to handle incoming phone calls, we're quite happy to start off slow and ramp over time. And finally, all clients are given a login to our call reporting platform where you can view the details of each call and other helpful reports. So that concludes the presentation on pay-per-call advertising. I hope that you found it to be informative and are able to envision how pay-per-call can work for your business. For anyone that's interested in continuing the conversation, you can feel free to reach out to me directly at ryan@callengine.com. That's ryan@callengine.com, and I'll see to it that your inquiry is handled in a timely fashion. And at this point, I'd like to open up the floor to any questions anyone might have. Emma?
Fantastic. Thank you, Ryan. So this is all of our attendees. This is your opportunity to submit your questions for Ryan. We do have some coming in, so I will just start throwing those out to you and you can answer them, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Hannah is asking, how about services like weight loss or nutritional consultation? I think she means like, does PPC advertising work for this type of an industry?
Yes, absolutely. I would categorize that as a vertical that could work from a pay-per-call perspective, for sure. I mean, everything from our perspective comes down to, are people looking for that particular service through a search engine? If the answer is yes, our typical research would require looking into the average monthly searches for that particular service and looking at the bid prices, and that will give us the information we need to decide whether it's a large enough market. But I can tell you weight loss is a massive market.
Wonderful. Another question for you. Is there an option to record PPC advertising calls, so the inbound calls that come in terms of like tracking purposes?
Yes, there is. It's as simple as it's a radio button within our platform where we can click it on or off at any time. Usually it comes down to the advertiser deciding whether or not they want us to record calls. There's some verticals such as health insurance, for example, where there's various laws in place where you can't record calls. But most of our advertisers want us to record them because it helps us optimize the ads. If we know what's happening on the phone calls, we're able to make adjustments to the campaign, alter the IVR, just to constantly be improving the quality.
Great. Next question for you. Are there limits to how successful PPC advertising might be for certain businesses?
I mean, that's a broad question, but I mean, it really comes down to, again, how large the market is. There is a limit to every vertical has its limit based on the number of searches happening for that category. If you get very niche, and we do some research and find out that there's an average of, say, 80 people searching for that type of service in a month, well, that's what you're limited by, really. It comes down to the search volume.
Wonderful. So Ryan, those are all the questions that we had for you today. It looks like your presentation was pretty clear and concise and straight to the point, so there wasn't a whole lot that came in, but I want to thank you for doing this today and for offering to present for us. I truly do appreciate you taking the time to go through PPC advertising with us and offer your services to accredited businesses.
Likewise, and we appreciate the opportunity. And again, if anybody on the call would like to continue the conversation, please feel free to reach out to me at ryan@callengine.com.
Yes, exactly. So to our attendees, thank you so much for your participation today. If you are interested in joining us for future sessions, or if you have anything you'd like to discuss with Call Engine or Ryan, definitely please let me know as well if you need help connecting with them. My contact information will be in a follow-up email, and I'd be more than happy to help you connect with Ryan or Call Engine about any of the marketing programs available for your business. With that said, thank you so much, and have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.